the scholarship thief. When stealing dreams backfires. She was the valedictorian, who earned a full scholarship to Harvard through years of sacrifice and perfect grades. But her jealous best friend stole her acceptance letter and took her place using forged documents. When the truth came out 4 years later, the thief learned why you should never steal someone's dreams. Welcome back to Consequences and Co. ***, where stolen opportunities always find their way back to the rightful owner, and jealousy comes with the steepest price of all. I'm your host, and today we're diving into one of the most shocking education fraud stories you'll ever hear. This is about Priya Sharma, a brilliant student whose best friend didn't just betray her trust, she literally stole her future. But when you build your success on someone else's dreams, that foundation eventually crumbles, taking everything you've built with it. Hit that like button if you believe in justice for students who work hard for their dreams, and let's see what happens when academic fraud meets its reckoning. Chapter 1: The Perfect Student. Priya Sharma had spent 4 years of high school with one singular focus: earning a scholarship to an Ivy League university. As the daughter of Indian immigrants who worked multiple jobs to support their family, Priya knew that academic excellence was her only path to the opportunities her parents had dreamed of when they came to America. While her classmates at Jefferson High School went to parties and football games, Priya spent her nights studying, tutoring younger students for extra money, and volunteering at the local hospital. Her schedule was relentless: school from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., volunteer work until 6 p.m., part-time job at her family's convenience store until 9 p.m., then homework until midnight. Her best friend since middle school, Ashley Collins, often marveled at Priya's dedication. "I don't know how you do it," Ashley would say, watching Priya work through lunch while Ashley chatted with friends. "All that studying and working, aren't you missing out on being a teenager?" But Priya had seen her parents' sacrifices too clearly to waste the opportunities they'd given her. Her father drove a taxi 16 hours a day, while her mother cleaned office buildings at night. Every dollar they earned went toward keeping their family afloat and supporting Priya's educational goals. "I'm not missing out," Priya would tell Ashley. "I'm investing in my future." By senior year, Priya's investment had paid off spectacularly. She was valedictorian with a perfect 4 GPA, scored 1580 on her SATs, and had accumulated over 500 hours of volunteer service. Her college applications were masterpieces: essays about overcoming economic hardship, recommendations from teachers who called her the most dedicated student I've ever taught, and a resume that showcased both academic excellence and community service. Ashley, meanwhile, was a solid B+ student with good test scores, but none of Priya's drive or achievements. She'd spent high school focused on social activities, dating, and maintaining her image as one of the popular kids. As college application deadlines approached, Ashley grew increasingly anxious about her future. "My parents are going to kill me if I don't get into a good school," Ashley confided to Priya during one of their study sessions. "They've been bragging to their friends about how I'm going to follow in my sister's footsteps at Columbia." Ashley's sister had graduated from Columbia Law School and was now a successful attorney. The family pressure on Ashley to achieve similar success was intense, but she'd never been willing to make the sacrifices necessary to earn it. When acceptance letters began arriving in March, the contrast between the two friends became painfully clear. Chapter 2: The Dream Achieved. Priya's acceptance to Harvard arrived on a Tuesday afternoon with a full scholarship package worth over $300,000. The letter was everything she'd worked 4 years to achieve: not just admission to one of the world's most prestigious universities, but a complete financial package that would allow her to attend without burdening her family with debt. "I can't believe it," Priya said, tears streaming down her face as she called her parents at work. "Full scholarship, room and board, everything covered. We did it." Her parents' joy was overwhelming. Her father took his first day off work in 2 years to celebrate. Her mother called relatives in India to share the news that their daughter would be the first person in their family to attend an American university. Ashley's reaction was more complicated. She congratulated Priya enthusiastically, but there was something strained in her smile. Ashley had been accepted to several good schools, but none offered the prestige or scholarship money that Priya had earned. "You deserve it," Ashley said, hugging Priya after reading the Harvard acceptance letter. All that hard work finally paid off. But privately, Ashley was consumed with jealousy. She'd grown up in an affluent family where success was expected, not earned. Watching her immigrant friend achieve something Ashley couldn't buy with her family's wealth was devastating to her sense of entitlement. Over the following weeks, as Priya excitedly prepared for Harvard orientation, Ashley became increasingly bitter. She watched Priya's parents beam with pride, saw the respect Priya received from teachers and classmates, and felt that her own accomplishments had been diminished by her friend's spectacular success. That's when Ashley made a decision that would destroy both their lives. She was going to steal Priya's scholarship. The plan Ashley developed was shockingly simple and devastatingly effective. As Priya's closest friend, she had access to personal information that made identity theft possible. She also had something else crucial: Priya's complete trust. If you're as shocked as I was by what Ashley was planning, hit that like button and let me know in the comments. Have you ever been betrayed by someone you trusted completely? Make sure you're subscribed because this betrayal is about to get so much worse. Chapter 3: The Perfect Crime. Ashley's scheme began with a simple request. "Hey, Priya," she said casually during one of their final high school hangouts. "Can I see your Harvard stuff again? I want to show my mom the scholarship letter. She's been asking about how merit aid works." Priya, trusting as always, handed over her acceptance folder containing not just the scholarship details, but her student ID number, enrollment paperwork, and contact information for her admissions counselor. Ashley photographed everything while pretending to show her mother. The next phase required Ashley to exploit her family's wealth and connections in ways that would have been impossible for someone like Priya. Ashley's father was a corporate lawyer with extensive contacts in document preparation and verification. Using those connections, Ashley had professional quality forged documents created that transferred Priya's scholarship to herself. The forgeries were sophisticated: fake transcripts showing Ashley had earned Priya's grades, counterfeit SAT score reports, and most crucially, documents correcting an administrative error that had supposedly sent Priya's acceptance letter to the wrong student. Ashley's story to Harvard was carefully crafted. There had been a mix-up in the admissions office where two students with similar backgrounds had their acceptances switched. She provided evidence showing that she was the rightful recipient of the scholarship, while Priya had been mistakenly accepted despite lower qualifications. The scheme worked because Ashley had something Priya lacked: a family with enough wealth and connections to make the fraud seem legitimate. When Harvard's admissions office received Ashley's correction request, it came through law firm letterhead from Ashley's father's practice, complete with notarized documents and official-looking paperwork. Meanwhile, Priya received a devastating phone call from Harvard admissions in late July. "Ms. Sharma, we're calling about an administrative error we've discovered. There was a mistake in our scholarship awards, and we need to discuss your enrollment status." The conversation that followed destroyed 4 years of Priya's dreams in 15 minutes. Harvard claimed they had discovered discrepancies in her application and that her scholarship had been awarded in error. They offered her a partial financial aid package that would still require her family to pay over $40,000 per year, money they simply didn't have. "There must be some mistake," Priya pleaded. "I have all my documentation, my grades, everything that proved I earned this scholarship." "We understand this is disappointing, Ms. Sharma, but our records show the merit scholarship was correctly awarded to another student. We're sorry for any confusion our initial letter may have caused." Priya was devastated, but she had no way to fight Harvard's decision. Her family couldn't afford lawyers to challenge the university's findings, and they didn't have the connections to navigate the complex appeals process. 2 weeks before classes started, Priya had to decline her Harvard admission and enroll at the local community college. the only option her family could afford. Chapter 4. Living the Stolen Dream. Ashley Collins arrived at Harvard in September with a full scholarship she hadn't earned, using credentials she'd stolen, living a dream that belonged to someone else. To everyone at Harvard, she was a brilliant scholarship student who'd overcome challenges to achieve academic excellence. The irony was devastating. Ashley was living Priya's life while Priya sat in community college classrooms, watching her dreams disappear. But Ashley's stolen success came with unexpected challenges. Harvard's academic rigor was far beyond anything she'd experienced, and she quickly discovered that forged transcripts couldn't fake the study habits and intellectual discipline that Priya had spent years developing. Ashley struggled through her first semester, earning C's in classes where she should have been excelling as a supposed valedictorian. She hired expensive tutors with money from her scholarship fund and relied heavily on study groups where she could benefit from other students' work. Meanwhile, Priya was excelling at community college while working multiple jobs to save money for a 4-year transfer. Her professors recognized her exceptional abilities and encouraged her to apply for transfer scholarships. But the Harvard rejection had damaged Priya's confidence and limited her options. No other Ivy League school would consider a community college transfer for their most prestigious programs. Ashley's deception required constant maintenance. She had to avoid discussing her high school experiences in detail, couldn't connect with classmates from Jefferson High who might have exposed her lies, and lived in constant fear that someone would discover the truth about her stolen identity. The psychological toll was enormous. Ashley knew she was living a lie, benefiting from someone else's work, and had destroyed her best friend's future to steal opportunities she didn't deserve. The guilt and paranoia began affecting her academic performance even more severely. By sophomore year, Ashley was on academic probation despite having access to the best educational resources money could buy. The study habits and intellectual foundation that would have made Harvard manageable for Priya simply didn't exist in Ashley, and no amount of tutoring could replace the years of discipline Priya had developed. But Ashley's biggest mistake was staying in contact with Priya, partly from guilt and partly from a twisted desire to monitor the damage she'd caused. Chapter 5. The Unraveling Begins. 3 years into Ashley's stolen Harvard career, Priya had rebuilt her life with characteristic determination. She'd transferred from community college to the University of California with a full merit scholarship, graduated summa cum laude with a degree in biomedical engineering, and been accepted to Stanford Medical School with a research fellowship. Priya's recovery from the Harvard betrayal had made her stronger and more focused than ever. She'd learned to rely entirely on her own abilities and to verify every opportunity carefully. The community college detour had actually enhanced her medical school application by demonstrating resilience and adaptability. Ashley, meanwhile, was struggling to graduate from Harvard with a barely passing GPA. The contrast between their trajectories should have been a warning sign, but Ashley was too consumed with maintaining her deception to recognize the irony. The unraveling began when Priya's Stanford research was featured in a prominent medical journal. The article mentioned her unconventional path from community college to medical school, describing how she'd overcome early setbacks to achieve academic excellence. A Harvard alumnus reading the article was puzzled by the story and mentioned it to his daughter, who was in Ashley's graduating class. "There's this amazing student at Stanford Medical who went to your high school," he said. "Priya Sharma. Apparently she started at community college, but her research is revolutionary. Did you know her?" Ashley's classmate was confused. "Priya Sharma? I remember her being valedictorian at Jefferson High, but I thought Ashley Collins was the scholarship student from that school. She's in my class here." The conversation sparked curiosity that led to investigation. When Priya's former classmate looked up Jefferson High School's records, she found something impossible. 2 different students claiming to be valedictorian from the same graduating class, with one attending Harvard and the other at Stanford Medical School. This is where Ashley's house of lies starts crumbling. If you're here for this level of fraud exposure, smash that subscribe button and let me know in the comments what you think should happen to scholarship thieves. Chapter 6: The Investigation. The discovery that something was wrong with Ashley's Harvard admission prompted a deeper investigation that would expose one of the most elaborate scholarship fraud cases in the university's history. Harvard's admissions office, faced with evidence that two students from the same high school were both claiming to be valedictorian, launched a comprehensive review of Ashley's application materials. What they found was a masterclass in document forgery and identity theft. Every piece of Ashley's admission package had been falsified. Her transcripts didn't match Jefferson High School's actual records. Her SAT scores were fraudulent copies of Priya's results. Her recommendation letters contained information about achievements that belonged to Priya, not Ashley. Most damning of all, the administrative correction that had transferred Priya's scholarship to Ashley was traced back to forged documents created by professionals who were paid through Ashley's father's law firm accounts. When investigators contacted Jefferson High School, they confirmed that Priya Sharma had been valedictorian, not Ashley Collins. They also provided Ashley's actual academic records, which showed a B+ average, excellent grades, but nowhere near the level required for Harvard's merit scholarships. The case became even more shocking when investigators realized that Ashley's fraud had directly harmed Priya. Harvard's records showed that Priya's original acceptance had been legitimate and that the scholarship had been stolen through systematic document forgery. Harvard immediately contacted Priya to inform her of the investigation's findings and to offer her the admission and scholarship that had been stolen 4 years earlier. But Priya was now in her second year of medical school at Stanford, a path that had led to extraordinary success despite the initial betrayal. "Thank you for investigating this," Priya told Harvard's admissions director during their phone call. "But I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be now. The person who stole my scholarship actually did me a favor. I discovered I was stronger than I knew, and my path to Stanford has prepared me for medical research in ways Harvard couldn't have." The investigation also uncovered Ashley's father's role in creating the forged documents, leading to criminal charges for both father and daughter. Chapter 7: The Public Reckoning. Ashley Collins's scholarship fraud became national news when Harvard announced her expulsion, and the criminal charges filed against both her and her father. The case highlighted systemic vulnerabilities in college admissions and sparked conversations about privilege, fraud, and the desperation some families felt to achieve elite education status. The media coverage was devastating for Ashley's entire family. Her father, a prominent corporate lawyer, was disbarred and faced federal fraud charges. The law firm partnership he'd built over 20 years collapsed as clients fled to avoid association with the scandal. Ashley herself faced criminal charges including fraud, forgery, and theft of services totaling over $300,000, the value of the scholarship she'd stolen. More immediately, she was expelled from Harvard just months before graduation, meaning 4 years of stolen education resulted in no degree. The psychological impact was severe. Ashley had built her entire adult identity around being a Harvard student, but that identity was based on someone else's achievements. When the truth emerged, she was left with nothing: no degree, no legitimate accomplishments, and no sense of who she actually was beneath the stolen credentials. The contrast with Priya's trajectory made the story even more compelling. While Ashley was facing criminal prosecution, Priya was thriving at Stanford Medical School, conducting research that was already attracting attention from leading medical institutions. "I spent 4 years angry about what was stolen from me," Priya told reporters who covered the story. "But I realize now that Ashley didn't steal my future, she only delayed it. And the delay made me stronger, more determined, and ultimately more successful than I might have been otherwise." Priya's grace in handling the situation impressed everyone who followed the case. Instead of seeking revenge or demanding punishment, she focused on her own continued success and used her experience to advocate for better verification systems in college admissions. But the consequences for Ashley were just beginning. Chapter 8: The Complete Collapse. Ashley Collins's criminal trial became a landmark case in education fraud prosecution. The evidence against her was overwhelming: forged documents, stolen identity credentials, and a conspiracy that involved her father's legal practice in systematic document fraud. During the trial, prosecutors revealed the full extent of Ashley's deception. She hadn't just stolen Priya's scholarship. She'd assumed Priya's entire academic identity, claiming credit for achievements, volunteer work, and personal experiences that belonged to someone else. The most damaging testimony came from Ashley's Harvard classmates, who described her academic struggles and constant need for tutoring despite supposedly being a brilliant scholarship student. Her professors testified that her performance had been inconsistent with the exceptional credentials that earned her admission. Ashley's defense attorney tried to argue that she was young and influenced by family pressure, but the premeditated nature of the fraud made sympathy difficult. The scheme had required months of planning, professional document forging, and deliberate destruction of Priya's opportunities. The judge was particularly harsh in sentencing. Ms. Collins didn't just commit fraud, she stole another person's dreams and opportunities. Her actions demonstrate a level of entitlement and callousness that demands serious consequences. Ashley received 18 months in federal prison, 5 years probation, and was ordered to pay full restitution to Harvard for the scholarship money she'd fraudulently received. Her father received a longer sentence for his role in creating the forged documents and was permanently disbarred. But the legal consequences were only part of Ashley's punishment. Her story became a cautionary tale used in high schools and colleges to discuss academic integrity. Her name became synonymous with privilege, fraud, and the dangers of taking shortcuts to success. Meanwhile, Priya's inspiring recovery from the betrayal made her a sought-after speaker for student groups and educational organizations. Her story of resilience, hard work, and ultimate success, despite systematic fraud, became a powerful example of how integrity and determination can overcome even the most devastating setbacks. This is what happens when you try to steal someone else's dreams. If you're loving this justice story, make sure you hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments what you think about education fraud. Chapter 9: The Aftermath. 2 years after Ashley Collins was sentenced for scholarship fraud, the contrasts between the two women's lives could not have been more stark. Priya had completed her medical degree at Stanford with highest honors and was beginning her residency in pediatric surgery at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, one of the most competitive medical programs in the country. Her research in pediatric cardiac procedures was already being published in major medical journals. The Stanford Medical School dean had written in Priya's residency recommendation, "Dr. Sharma represents the very best of what medical education can achieve. Her combination of brilliant intellect, unwavering dedication, and genuine compassion for patients makes her the kind of physician who will save countless lives throughout her career." Priya had also been awarded a National Institutes of Health Research Fellowship worth $250,000, supporting her groundbreaking work in developing less invasive surgical techniques for children with congenital heart defects. The irony was not lost on anyone following her story. The scholarship Ashley had stolen was worth $300,000, but Priya's legitimate achievements had earned her far more. Ashley, meanwhile, was working as a retail associate at a department store, living with her mother in a small apartment after their family home was sold to pay legal fees and restitution. Her criminal record made finding professional employment nearly impossible, and her lack of a college degree limited her options further. The psychological toll of living with fraud exposure had been devastating. Ashley struggled with depression and anxiety, knowing that her name would forever be associated with one of the most publicized education fraud cases in recent history. Internet searches of her name returned pages of articles about her crimes and their consequences. But perhaps the most painful part of Ashley's punishment was watching Priya's continued success. Every medical journal publication, every award, every achievement was a reminder that Ashley had tried to steal the dreams of someone who was destined for greatness regardless of the obstacles placed in her path. Ashley had learned the hardest possible lesson. You can steal someone's opportunities, but you cannot steal their character, intelligence, or determination. And when those qualities are allowed to flourish, they create success that no fraud can replicate. Epilogue: Dreams Restored. 5 years after the scholarship theft that nearly derailed her dreams, Dr. Priya Sharma stood before a packed auditorium at Harvard Medical School, delivering the keynote address at their annual symposium on medical ethics. She had been invited not just as a distinguished physician, but as someone whose story embodied the principles of integrity and perseverance that Harvard claimed to value. Integrity isn't just about following rules, Priya told the audience of medical students, faculty, and administrators. It's about building your success on a foundation that can withstand scrutiny, support others, and create lasting value in the world. In the audience sat Harvard's admissions director, who had personally apologized to Priya for the system failures that had allowed Ashley's fraud to succeed initially. Harvard had completely overhauled their verification processes and now used Priya's case as an example in their integrity training programs. Priya's medical career had exceeded even her highest aspirations. Her research had led to breakthrough surgical techniques that were saving children's lives worldwide. She'd been promoted to chief of pediatric cardiac surgery at age 31, making her one of the youngest department heads in the hospital's history. But Priya's greatest satisfaction came from the scholarship program she'd established for first-generation college students from immigrant families. The Dr. Priya Sharma Foundation provided not just financial support, but mentorship and advocacy to ensure that deserving students could achieve their dreams without falling victim to fraud or systemic barriers. "My scholarship was stolen, but my dreams were not," Priya told students who received her foundation's support. "No one can steal your intelligence, your work ethic, or your determination to make a difference. Those are the only credentials that really matter." Ashley Collins had been released from prison and was slowly rebuilding her life, working in social services and counseling young people about the consequences of academic fraud. She'd written a letter of apology to Priya that was never sent. Ashley understood that no words could undo the damage she'd caused or the opportunities she'd stolen. But in many ways, Ashley's fraud had ultimately served justice. By forcing Priya to take a different path, the theft had led to achievements that surpassed what might have been possible at Harvard. Priya's unconventional journey from community college to medical leadership had made her more relatable to struggling students and more determined to create opportunities for others. The story of the scholarship thief and her victim had become a powerful reminder that success built on lies inevitably collapses, while success built on character and hard work creates a legacy that inspires generations. Priya Sharma had proven that dreams stolen can be rebuilt bigger and better than before, while Ashley Collins had learned that shortcuts to success lead to nowhere but disgrace. In the end, the woman who tried to steal someone else's future had only succeeded in making that future more brilliant than anyone could have imagined. Thank you for watching Consequences & Co. This story of academic fraud and incredible resilience shows us that stolen dreams can be rebuilt even stronger, while success built on lies will always collapse. If Priya's journey from betrayal to triumph inspired you, smash that like button and let me know in the comments about your own stories of overcoming unfair setbacks. Subscribe for more incredible tales where hard work defeats fraud and integrity always wins in the end. Remember, your dreams belong to you, and no one can steal the character and determination that make those dreams come true. Subscribe now for more stories where the deserving win and thieves get exactly what they've earned.